Hi, good day again, everyone. Today, I want to do a video on investment. And you say, whoa, Tammy, sir, how do you know, or what do you know about investing? Well, I know nothing about investing. I'm a terrible investor. But I do know about investing into a children's future. What do I mean about this? I don't mean you should buy funds. I don't mean you should buy an educational fund or perhaps an insurance policy. Not that I don't recommend it, but this is not my topic for today. My topic for today is invest in your child's education future so you won't have to suffer an insurmountable penalty later. Yes, penalty. What do I mean by this? Um, in Asia, because testing is paramount to entering university. The siphoning process is probably the most rigorous in probably in the entire globe, um, and so your child will have to do the very best. And even though your child is the best in his or her school, maybe you still will probably have to do some investing. What do I mean by this? I mean, start early with the English program, not just English, but you also need math. You'll also need uh, investing into tutorials for Chinese, especially because Chinese is very difficult uh, in the HKDSA exam. In fact, 99.9 of the students, they tell me, the Chinese exam is more difficult than the English exam. So you have to start early investing and you have to invest. Why? Because taking an exam is different than um, doing well in school, doing well in homework. Because exams uh, require a different technique or different techniques. Moreover, there are things to which tutorial centers, some, not all, they will teach you techniques on how to take the exams, and also they will teach you things to which you can't learn from school. And so your child will have an added advantage. And you might say, well, I don't want to spend the extra money. Well, let me tell you what, if you don't want to spend extra money, this is what you are going to suffer. All right. Now I'm going to use this English because this is the subject we know best. If you don't do well on the HKDSA exam, what are you going to suffer? Number one, okay, let's take a look. You're going to have to take the IELTS exam. And I don't care where you go, you have to take the IELTS, most likely. All right. And how much does it cost now? Well, it costs $2,150. All right. Now, that is 200. Well, you're going to have to pay that anyway. But what happens if your child cannot pass the first exam? Usually they might not achieve the score. What are the scores now required? Minimum 6.5, but some require 7. You say, well, 7 is not too bad, but wait a minute. It's 7 across the board. What does that mean? In all subjects. You might say, well, my son is pretty good at English. Well, he could be good in reading. He could be good in speaking, especially the international school students. Most of the students, they don't require speaking, right? You 99.9 don't if you go to international school. But the writing. So if you need, even though you go to international school, writing could be your nemesis or one of your nemesis. And so you still would have to go to tutorial centers or maybe British Council IDP or maybe even us to learn how to write. Because why? Because you can't get that 7 on the writing part. And you say, well, what's a big deal about that? Well, the big deal is this. I have students who have taken the exam 4 times. So 4 times 2150, you can do the math. That's what? I don't know, somewhere around 8,000, right? Or 8,300, around there. So you have already spent 8,300 and you still can't get that seven. All right. And then you might have to spend another, I would say 10,000 roughly to hire a tutor, okay, tutorial to help you uh, take this exam. So that's that's the first penalty you're going to suffer. Now, the second penalty is, let's say you can't get the seven across, or you can't get that 6.5 across, right? So you have to do what we call a foundational year. Now, what's a foundational year? Foundational year, it means just an extra year in doing what? In doing foundational courses, which comprises almost 99% English. It's just to improve your English so you can get into the university. Well, this is Australia. How much does it cost? It costs around 15 to 39,000 Australian dollars to study 1 year, an extra year. All right. Now let's convert that. We take the medium. The medium is 30, let's say 30,000 Australian dollars. Convert it into HKD. Let's say it's 163. All right, round it off. Roughly 100 and 163,000 HKD, to which you as parents will have to spend because your son or daughter couldn't get that 6.5 or seven, but you still want them to go to Australia to study because they can't get into JUPAS. They don't qualify. What happens? You're going to have to spend another 163 just for one extra year of English, plus living expenses. Well, I don't know how much live. I've never been to Australia, and so I don't know what the cost of living over there is. But if you ask the experts, living in Australia, here are the costs. All right, what, 80 to 250 for grocery, gas, electricity. You can add it up. You can add it up. It will probably come up to another, I don't know, let's say 40,000 a year. All right. So you're looking at almost one extra year of 200,000 HKD just because your son or daughter couldn't get that 6.5 or seven on the IELTS exam. Why couldn't they get it? Well, it's not because the English is not good enough for university. It's because they couldn't show it on the examination. And whose fault is that? I blame it on the parents. Yes. Had you parents invested how much? Okay, for instance, let's start with Form 1. Form 1 to Form 6. Your child is going to tutorial centers. It might cost like $300 per lesson per week. All right. On the average, probably some are less, some are more, but let's round it to 300. Nice and easy figure. So that equates to what? Equates to 1,200 per month times how many months? Let's say times 10 months, 12 months, 12 months. Okay, 12 months. That's equal to 1,004. My math is bad. That's why. Is it 12, 10 times 12? Yeah, 1,404, right? A year per year. Okay, how many years? Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, Form 4, Form 5, Form 6. You said 6 years? No, not 6 years. Actually, 5.5. Why? Because the last year, you only have 6 months to study before you take the HKDSE exam. So total, let's say multiply by 5.5. All right. Now my math is not good. That's why I don't teach math. 5.5 times, I'm making my face out of the way, 1,440. That's 70, well, let's say roughly 80,000. 80,000 HKD for the 5.5 years. Now, but from our experience, if you can do this for 5.5 years on a weekly basis, some now are doing it on a daily basis. And my goodness, their score is just just shot off the roof. Um, and so for 5.5 years, you will invest about $80,000. But what is the result? The result is that they are going to get at least on the HKDSE, they're going to get at least a 5 or maybe 5 and a star, which is good enough for pretty much all universities, or maybe not calling you. It depends on the subject that you want to get into also. So by doing so, you will save your son, number one, you will save your son or daughter one pre-foundational year, or foundation, pre-foundation. It depends. Some countries, they call it pre-foundation. Some countries call it foundation. So you will save 1 year, 1 year's time. All right, that's number one. Number two, what will you save? You will save, all right, here's 80,000, 200,000. You will save, if they go overseas to study, you will save 120,000 HKD. All right. Uh, Not including the number of IELTS exam they might have to that they might have to take, nor does it include the tutorial fee for IELTS tutors. What I'm saying is this: if they can start when they're Form 1, by the time they get to Form 6, they don't need an IELTS tutor. If you find the right tutorial centers, okay, like ours, quietly speaking, a little caveat included, you don't need to take the IELTS exam. You don't need to find an IELTS tutor when they're in Form 6, because they will already know how to take the exam when they reach Form 6. So the benefits are insurmountable. But if you don't invest early, the penalties are also insurmountable, as you can see from this figure. So, in a nutshell, what is my advice? Start early. Start early. You're not a tiger dad or tiger mom. Either you're going to pay now or you're going to pay later. Your children are your investment. They are your most precious asset. Invest in them. Invest in them early so you don't have to pay a price later on. If you have any questions, message me, WhatsApp me, or leave us a message on our Facebook page. Take care. Bye now.